So a lot of people have been saying that it doesn't make sense for Sonic to have electrical abilities based on his characterization, but based on Sonic lore, it makes sense for Sonic to have Chaos Energy style abilities. Chaos Energy is represented by electrical charges, and most of the time Sonic's natural ability is enhanced by the fact that he has Chaos Energy running through his body. The first time that Sonic's actual Chaos Energy is shown on screen is during the Eclipse Cannon scene during Sonic Adventure 2. The cannon explodes and the electrical charges from around the the negative propulsion of the fake Chaos Emerald was used to destroy the cannon. It was actually very subtle. Now, most people do not actually think about this in hindsight, and when you actually get down to it, does it matter that much? Yes, it does matter, because as we get into the future, it's going to be a lot more prevalent that chaos is represented by electricity. Remember how the Chaos Emeralds are presented are not the same in every game, but we still know that Chaos Energy is consistently being used. Also, another thing you have to remember is that robots do not always produce enough static electricity in order to show it on the outer shell of the robot. So with that being said, let's continue moving on, because we're going to be covering a lot more robots than we did during this portion of the video. A thing that you have to remember about Sonic Heroes is that Sonic Heroes has like one prevalent use of lightning, and that prevalent use of lightning is not going to be talked about right now, because we have to talk about power plants and the green egg robos that shoot electricity out of their fucking bodies. Now, people think that this could just be pure mechanical robotistry, but remember, the electrical static charge comes from the power source. Usually things do not emit electricity on their own, which means that these robots are being pushed with more static electricity than they actually need, but that's better than being just a sitting duck on the side of the road. Like, really, why would you do that? The next big, very gigantic, amazing thing that we can actually see in Sonic Heroes is this cool thing where Metal Sonic puts his hand in the air and causes electricity to come down towards his hand. What in the actual fuck? This is a common misrepresentation of what's actually happening in the scene. In the scene, what he's doing is he's lifting his hand up in the air, shooting lightning up in the air, causing an explosion. Now, that explosion that he's causing is a explosion that causes him to transform into Neo Metal. Now, what's happening in this clip is wild, because he's shooting Chaos Energy from his hand. It's insane. He hits himself with the Chaos Energy that comes back from the lightning, and then he transforms into a stronger version of himself. I think that's kind of crazy, because it's inherently rule of cool, okay? It's inherently rule of cool, but the rule of cool kind of fucks with nothing and everything at the same time. It doesn't actually break anything about Chaos Energy, but it also doesn't help anything either, because if you're shooting lightning into the air and it's coming back down, this is a part of the theory that what we see in the Sonic movie during that scene where Sonic creates the chili dog is actually in games already, and we just didn't realize it. Well, it's not that we didn't realize it, they already have thoughts into power in the actual games themselves, but this is like the first time we see something come out of the air that causes creation in a way similar to a Master Emerald Eggman from Sonic 2. First sign of a character using Chaos Energy in visible ways that aren't small is Shadow the Hedgehog using his Chaos Blast and his ability to literally head straight for the goal. I like to call it Sonic Power, because I don't remember the actual name. But his eyes glow, he gets an aura around him, and then he jets off, or he causes a big explosion, like most people would when they get too much Taco Bell. And with Jeff Fowler working on this character in some way, shape, form, or fashion, it is very apparent to me that Jeff Fowler took this as a visual reference and used it for pretty much all the characters. And then, in turn, they brought it back for later games in the franchise. So basically, iconically in the game known as Sonic 06, there's this object, this item, this thing called the yellow gem. And the yellow gem is one of the few items that gives you a thunder shield in the Sonic series, and while I do not believe that the TVs in Sonic 1 are actually real, the yellow gem definitely could be real, but there is no actual proof because they never reference it in game. It's never required for 100% from what I remember, and if it is, well then I'm just correct, because the yellow gem has electrical abilities, and we don't know if it's actually chaos energy or if it's a soul emerald. We have no idea, but I'm pretty sure it's chaos energy, because if it wasn't chaos energy, what the fuck else is it? Now, we get to the coolest one. So, in Sonic Unleashed, there's this thing called the Werehog. You already know it, we already know it, everyone already knows it. But a thing that you need to think about is some of the attacks that the Werehog uses in Sonic Unleashed. Because usually, attacks from Dark Gaia and his minions never give off a bioelectrical field. They usually give off this fiery aura that seems like fire, but it's not really fire. It's kind of weird. But the Werehog does this. But you don't even have to look at that. You don't even have to look at that at all. We don't have to care about his attacks, because at the start of the game, what happens? He goes from Super Sonic into Werehog form, and what happens when he gets the Chaos Emerald sucked out of him? Electrical static goes off. And if we have any debates about this, think about this. How are they going to get anything from Dark Gaia without Eggman already having access to Dark Gaia's energy? Is he using Dark Gaia's energy to suck all the stuff out of the Chaos Emeralds? Is that a plot hole? No, it's not a plot hole. It's not a plot hole because he's only using the Chaos energy to suck out all the energy from Sonic, which transformed him into the Werehog, and then he woke up Dark Gaia using that same energy, which means that Dark Gaia has some level of chaos energy too. Need more proof? We are going to be skipping Sonic Generations. Why? Because the rival battles do not actually happen the way that they are shown in gameplay. That is the only reason why. In fact, there was a point where I was going to talk about during the Shadow the Hedgehog section, the fact that Sonic used dark energy in order to defeat Shadow, which is okay, but I think that we should just skip it just to be safe, because we don't know how any of those battles actually win. Remember, Hyper Go-Ons, no Sonic colors. Oh my god. The Hyper Go-On energy completely messes with my brain, because for some reason, I think it's connected to Chaos energy, but it's not. So we're gonna completely skip Sonic colors. I cannot make any arguments for anything in Sonic colors not being Hyper Go-On energy, which is strong enough to retain black holes that Sonic fell into. Let's play the game! Is the Wisp in it? Sonic Forces, yes, the Wisp is in it. Are the Wisp in Sonic Lost World? Yes, the Wisp are in it. Alright, get it out of my fucking sight. We aren't covering it, okay? We are not covering it. If the Wisp are in the game, I am not saying its name, okay? Okay, next is Sonic Frontiers. Sonic Frontiers has bioelectricity baked into its being, its body, everything. One, we already know that the Chaos Emeralds and the Master Emerald both have that really good energy, that amazing energy, that lovely energy, but they used it to power cyberspace.
And finding multiple connections between the Ancients and the Chaos Emeralds. Their technology seems built with the Emeralds in mind. It's almost like they share the same origin. I enjoy a good mystery, but not when the answers are more mysteries.
And that means that the cyber corruption from Sonic Frontiers inherently has chaos energy in it. Sonic is infected with the virus, and while he's connected to cyberspace, he's allowed to power boost. Power boosting makes his eyes glow and him glow with good static, that amazing static, which means that him being infected with it did power him up in some ways. Now, is the benefits enough to where he doesn't feel the drawbacks? Absolutely not. But this doesn't mean that the cyber corruption was full-handedly doing nothing for him. In fact, I think that the cyber loop is actually not just a thing he can do in cyberspace, but he'll be able to do it in the next game too. Shadow the Hedgehog is already distraught over Black Doom, so obviously he's going to be emotionally charged and not hold back as much. Also, another thing you have to think about is once he gives Sonic the fake Chaos Emerald, he's on a time limit instantaneously because he knows what happened to the art cannon when Sonic threw that thing into the barrel of an exploding laser. I just say that's crazy. Obviously, I did not talk about supplementary material like side games like Sonic Advanced and all that stuff, even though in Sonic 4, which is a mainline game, I didn't talk about that either because it's pretty obvious that Eggman just revived Metal Sonic using Chaos Energy. Like, I don't even have to say that. So, you know, this entire video was entirely exciting for me because it's a topic I wanted to talk about for a long time, because even though thematically the wind fits Sonic better, lore-wise, electricity should become more the forefront as the characters get more powerful, as I've shown you here. So, yeah, have a great day. I'll see you later. Like, sub, comment, thanks.
Grumpy, bashful, and Tyrone. I never save a black beacher's number in my phone.